In the news this week, Indigenous activists are calling for murder charges over the death of Joyce Clarke.
Racehorse welfare. WA introduces sweeping reforms to its racehorse industry to protect horse well-being.
Major scandal hits the state government with an alleged theft of public money.
And Perth gets ready for Christmas with the official launch of the Christmas Lights Trail in the CBD.
Plus a feature interview with Greens MLC Diane Evers.
That's coming up.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Leung and Danielle Staniskov.
Good evening. A funeral was held this week for Indigenous woman Joyce Clarke, who died after she was shot by a police officer in Geraldton back in September. Indigenous activists called for her death to be recognised as a murder and the identity of the officer who shot her to be released. Sarah Smith with this exclusive report.
A murder charge is what Indigenous activists are calling for as Joyce Clarke's body was laid to rest this week. The Deputy Chair of the Death in Custody Watch Commission WA, Mervyn Eads, says that there is a need to revisit the death of Miss Clarke.
We need to ask that question because it's a very serious question, and the police involved in that should also be charged with murder, I say.
In a statement, WA Police says that the investigation is still ongoing. The calls come in the wake of murder charges being laid against a police constable in Alice Springs for the death in custody of 19-year-old man Kumanjai Walker. This is only the second time police officers have ever been charged for the death in custody of an Indigenous Australian. Attorney General John Quigley said there is a need to reduce the overrepresentation of Indigenous Australians in the prison population.
And so the government yesterday passed through the Legislative Assembly, for example, the eradication of imprisonment as a fines enforcement measure. That's how Miss Bew died.
The opposition says that the Department of Communities was too inefficient and chaotic to effectively provide diversionary services to keep people out of prison.
In Western Australia, we know with the chaos in the Department of Communities that more vulnerable people are going to find themselves in the criminal justice system because they're not getting the help they need from these departments at the moment. Mr Eads told WAMN that the rate of imprisonment in WA was out of control.
West Australia is the mother of all jailers, and, death in custody, 50 plus murders in 10 years.
Sarah Smith, WAMN News.
WA is set to boost the protection of the welfare of its racehorses with the new reforms ensuring their well-being from birth to death. But not everyone is convinced, despite efforts for transparency following a report into racehorse mistreatment. Nelson Liu reports.
It's about time. Animal advocates claiming welfare protections for the nation's racehorses are long overdue.
Always welcome any incentives that go towards reducing risks for racehorses.
The ABC has revealed footage on its 7:30 program last month highlighting cruelty and slaughter of racehorses in Queensland, sparking outrage.
All animals that end up in slaughterhouses are subjected to horrific abuse and cruelty.
It's now led to new laws to protect the well-being of racehorses from birth until death.
Every Western Australian can be proud of our Western Australian racing industry because it has the highest standards of welfare in the country.
The laws will push for comprehensive traceability for racehorses during their lives, assist transition of retired racehorses, and oversight for WA's abattoirs and knackeries with penalties for non-compliance. The RSPCA supports the reforms and expects transparency.
It could happen here, so let's work on the side of caution.
But animal advocates also claim the changes don't go far enough. They say the only answer is to end horse racing for good.
If you bet on horses racing, you are contributing to their poor welfare outcomes.
Good. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
The Premier says he is shocked and outraged at allegations that the Assistant Director General of the Housing Authority allegedly stopped $2.5 million of public money. Paul White had been working at the Housing Department for 10 years. White has worked closely with the Minister for Housing, who said the allegations struck at the heart of the agency that he is responsible for.
1,000 approximately public servants of the Department of Communities went to work this morning, and they went to work in the service of the most vulnerable Western Australians. This is a punch in the guts for them.
Of these people outrage them as much as they do me. I mean, I'm mad as hell about these sorts of people.
Well, I think the Premier needs to come out and explain what he's going to do to restore order in the public sector after the chaos he's created with the machinery of government changes.
The Premier has ordered an independent review into the Housing Authority over the scandal.
WA Police is set to expand its aerial frontline policing with new drones to boost its mobile eyes in the sky operation. 35 new drones will be added to its air wing fleet, fitted with new technology to support investigations and rescue operations. The drone technology is set to enhance video quality and increase flexibility during police pursuits or search and rescue operations. The drones will be made available to every police district, ensuring efficient policing across the state. Police Minister Michelle Roberts said the drones will be used in everyday policing as they are capable of flying in both day and nighttime operations.
WA's only fruit and vegetable market wholesaler is celebrating 30 years of selling produce from the Canning Vale Market City location. The space was opened to the public and transforms into the largest undercover consumer markets in the state this weekend, with 7,000 shoppers patronising the 379 stalls booked every week. CEO Rebecca Moore believes that it's the relationship between wholesaler, retailer and consumer that made the market what they are today.
We handed out certificates to all the people that had been here over 30 years, and then surprisingly we have a number of people that have been here 40 plus 50 years. So that was pretty exciting to see them involved both in West Perth and also here, and really we just celebrated with cupcakes and a fabulous carrot cake.
There is a twist in the Democratic presidential nomination, with former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg filed to join the race in Arkansas. The former mayor has confirmed his participation on Twitter, saying he is officially filed to be on the ballot. Mr. Bloomberg has also vowed to defeat current US President Donald Trump, accusing him of failing Americans at every turn. Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage stated that his party will not run against the 317 seats held by the Conservative Party in the December elections, with hopes that it will boost the support for Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Mr. Farage told the press that his party will focus its attention to fight the Labour Party as the opposition promised a second referendum on Brexit. Meanwhile, Labour has labelled Mr. Farage's move as an alliance which threatens to sell out the United Kingdom.
Well, with the end of the year approaching, Perth is welcoming Christmas with the annual Christmas light show at Yagan Square, King Square, Forest Place, St George's Cathedral, Hay and Murray Street Mall. This year there are 27 displays including the giant Christmas tree, Santa train, the secret elves, Christmas projections and more. There will be roving entertainment every Friday and Saturday between 6 to 9 p.m. along with entertainments throughout the mall during the weekend. The display period will end on 26th of December, so remember to keep an eye out for the vibrant decorations. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on the website and social media pages.
Until next Sunday after 8 p.m, thank you for watching. Good evening.
Take care.